Motorola Razr Plus 2024 and the Z Flip 6 2024. Both of these phones just came out a couple of weeks ago, and they're expensive, they're cool, they're the cutting edge of technology when it comes to flip phones. And as you can see, they also look kind of similar. Well, there are a lot of things that are similar, but there's also a lot of stuff that is dissimilar, and there are pros and cons of both of them. I want to talk about it in this video because it's a closer conversation than ever. And I actually prefer the Razr Plus 2024. So if you're curious about which one Adam J. Matlock likes, it's the Razr, but the Z Flip 6 has a lot of nice things going for it too, especially when you start talking about Ecosphere, talk about using it with your Galaxy Watch, with your Galaxy Ring, all those other great things, and 7 years of support. And that's one of the biggest kind of things that is a problem with this phone, the Razr Plus, because it has 4 years of support. You get 3 years of operating system updates, so you get 3 OS upgrades, and you get 4 years of security patches. They're bi-monthly, so you get a security patch every other month. And then when you take a look at the Z Flip, you get 7 years of support, 7 years of operating system updates, 7 years of security patches, and they're pretty good about every single month. In fact, I think Samsung in the United States is the best when it comes to software upgrades. So I think they're even better than Google. So Samsung is the best, Motorola not so much the best. And you might remember, if you paid attention or had the Razr Plus from 2023, it just got Android 14 a couple of weeks ago when this phone came out. So yeah, they're not the fastest in that department. Also, some other things you take a look at. So the Razr Plus, what do I love about this one the most? Well, I like the screen, 6.9 inches. It's a little bit bigger, 0.2 inches larger, 165 hertz. So you get 165 hertz on the inside, 165 hertz on the outside as well. As opposed to the Z Flip, you get 120 hertz on the inside, you get 60 hertz on the outside. Yes, Samsung I think has gotten very lazy, and they were very innovative. They took the world by storm. They were the first when it came to a mainstream flip phone, especially here in the United States. They basically pioneered the industry. And then they've sat back on their laurels. It took them forever to give us a bigger front screen. It took them forever to make improvements. It took, they just got lazy, I think. And they let Motorola catch up, and in a lot of ways pass them. And when it comes to the premium look and feel, I actually like the Razr better because we get this cool leather on the back. So it's vegan leather. It's something that's been around for a while. The last couple of phones they've had, the Razr Plus from last year had it. This one, I love this two-tone. They have different leather they have on these phones. It makes it feel really nice. It really makes it feel more premium. It's nice, it's sleek, it's rounded, and you have this big, beautiful front screen. 4-inch display. 4-inch. I mean, shoot, I've got my BlackBerry Porsche P9983 right here, and this was like the best of the best 10 years ago in the BlackBerry world. This got like a 3.1-inch display. So we had phones like way back in the day. Remember the iPhone had a 3.5-inch screen? This is basically a bigger screen on the front screen on this device than what we used to get with smartphones like 15 years ago. So there's been a lot of work that's gone into really pushing the envelope on these. And Razr, of course, they've been notorious, right? They've been out there for a long time. Everybody knew them way back in the early 2000s. They were so famous. They just had the 25th, was it 20th anniversary here with this one. This is a 20th anniversary model. And I like what they've done here. It's got a Snapdragon 8S Generation 3, which is basically kind of it's a Snapdragon 8 Generation 2 with better AI stuff and a little bit of changes under the hood. It's not like a Snapdragon 8 Plus Generation 3. We don't have one of those. We have the 8 Generation 3, which is a better chip in a couple of different areas over in the Flip 6, but really, in using both of these on a day-to-day basis, it's basically identical. Like both of them, it feels like an identical experience. I give a slight leg up to gaming when it comes to the Z Flip. One, because of the 8 Generation 3. Both of these run games almost identical, but you have the heat chamber. It's the first one ever in a flip phone. We have a heat chamber. So a vapor chamber, what that does is allows it to more easily remove heat away from the phone. It keeps it from overheating, keeps you from getting frame drops and different performance drops and things like that when you're playing games. But yeah, other things you want to look at. Price. So $1,000 for the Razr, 256 storage, 12 gigabytes of RAM. Both of them have 12 gigabytes of RAM. That was an upgrade. 12 gigs of RAM over here as well, 256, $1,099. So both of them expensive, $1,000 plus phones. They've got trade-in deals. They've got all sorts of that other stuff. Of course, Samsung, they had some good trade-in deals. They weren't as good this year though. The most you could get was $650 instead of what they've done like the last 2 or 3 years, where you trade your old Z Flip in and you get a new one for 50 bucks, 100 bucks, whatever. So yeah, there's a little bit of backlash there, which even I got people in the comment section of my videos convincing people to go with Motorola because they're like, oh, well, if I'm not getting a new one for 50 or 100 bucks, then I'll go try this other one out. And I think a lot of people largely happy about it. So we do have, I believe it's a 3.4-inch screen over here on the Z Flip on the outside, 4-inch screen on the Razr. You can see a significant difference here, but it's a full screen on the Razr. You have this weird notch, this groove thing. It reminds me of a window on like an F-150, F2, F-350 that Ford does. I don't know why they do that other than just because they don't want to do the screen around the cameras, which that's what they've done here. So cameras unimpeded over here. The screen goes around the cameras on the Razr. So that's something, maybe it's more difficult to repair. Maybe it costs more. I don't know, but it's definitely something that sets the Razr apart. And the Razr, full 4 inches. And one thing, just getting this out there, with the Razr, it's so easy to do apps on the front screen. And you can essentially use any app you want on your front screen. And it's so simple because once you're in there, all you have to do is when you're on the front page, you just swipe over one page. Well, there was rebooting. So you swipe over, there's an edit, there's a pencil button there. That's the edit. That allows you to edit and manage apps. So you can add any app you want to the front screen on your phone, and then it will work. It'll scale it, it'll adjust it, it'll do whatever, and then you're good to go. With the Samsung one, you got to use stuff in the S Labs, which is in the settings. You got to use Good Lock and like all sorts of different things, and I don't want to hear it. Last year, I made a video showing people how to use Good Lock because when you fire up your Z Flip 5, there were only a handful of apps you could use on the front screen. Then you had to go into the labs and like the kind of beta area on the phone to add stuff. And then that still wasn't even complete. And then you got to go download from the Samsung store Good Lock so you can customize and put stuff on your front screen. So I felt like out of the box, one, the experience way better on the front screen whenever it comes to the Razr. And there's still a lot of that that's held over. You still need to use Good Lock. You still don't have the full freedom and the ease of use when it comes to doing stuff on the front screen with the phone. So where Samsung has been very kind of lazy, keep putting out the same thing, not pushing the envelope, Motorola has doubled down the user experience. Of course, you've got the different tiles now, upgraded tiles, upgraded widgets. Samsung has done almost the exact same thing, but it's cool now because when you're on the home screen, if you do the little pinch in, you can move and you can go to any different window tile that you have. You can do the same thing with Samsung. But yeah, I think that Motorola has been working on giving us a better experience. And of course, like I said, you look under the hood, very similar, right? You've got 5G, you've got the Snapdragon 8 Generation 3, 8S Generation 3, same RAM, same storage. And then when you look at the cameras, both of them have a 50 megapixel camera. But one thing that's different when it comes to the Razr Plus, it has a 50 megapixel primary and a 50 megapixel telephoto that's 2 times telephoto. And then when you take a look at the Z Flip, 50 megapixel camera, the same one in the S22. It finally got an upgrade. And then it has an ultra wide. And the ultra wide is okay. It's got a new ultra wide, but it comes down to what you want to do, right? Do you want to have an ultra wide or do you want to take better portrait shots? So one thing you're going to hear in discussion is you're going to hear about these optical like quality shots, right? So when you have a primary camera, one-time zoom, normal stuff, you get that cropped in optical image like photo. And that's something they've been talking about with Apple, something with Samsung. So yeah, you can argue that a 2 times telephoto is really not that great. Basically, it's two times zoom. You're gonna have lossless quality, optical quality with a 2 times zoom when you take that photo. Okay, yeah, it's a little bit better, and then maybe it gives you a little extra leg up as you zoom in more. Neither one of them particularly take the greatest zoomed in photos, but you don't have an ultra wide. So you lose a capability with the Motorola Razr because you don't have that ultra wide, but then you're going to have a slight loss of quality when it comes to regular shots and of course portraits. So do you want ultra wide or do you want better portraits and slightly better zoom? So it's kind of a different philosophical difference there, but both of them have a 4,000 milliamp battery is same size, and they both should give you all day battery. This is one of those things where as long as you use it normally, if you get into gaming, if you sit there and watch videos all day, like there's things that you can do that will kill it. You can definitely kill the phone in a day, but by and large, normal stuff, mixed usage, you should get a full day's use out of it. And then take a look at other things like the 25-watt charging. So the Z Flip 6, 25-watt charging, 15-watt wireless charging, and then you have the 5-watt reverse wireless charging. And then you have faster charging. You have 45-watt charging over here on the Razr. So Razr Plus, 45 watts, way faster charging. You still get 15-watt wireless, and then you get 5-watt or 4.5-watt wired, reverse wired charging. So you can actually charge another phone if you plug in a cable from this one and then go to your other phone, which is kind of interesting. So reverse wired and reverse wireless. There's like a distinction there. And then one thing that's really frustrating about the Z Flip, no desktop mode. We still don't have DeX. So no DeX on here. That's a design choice that Samsung has continued to shoot themselves in the foot over. I wish that they would just go ahead, put it on there, not make you have to do any other crazy stuff to try and have a desktop mode. And then you get the desktop mode with the Razr, which is okay. It's not the greatest in the world, but at least it's there. It's an option. And there are different options I think you can do with the Z Flip I saw people doing. Somebody tried to tell me that they had DeX on developer settings, but I never heard that. I tried to look for it. I didn't see it. But as far as I know, no DeX. And then you do have a limited desktop mode with the Razr Plus. So you have a slight leg up there. So as we get down and talking about this stuff, the details, well, there's not a whole lot of difference. A little bit better support on the Z Flip, a little bit better nighttime stuff because, yes, the Snapdragon 8 Generation 3 and that 50 megapixel Samsung camera, it's very refined and polished at this point. So during daylight, both of them take good photos. You're going to get more natural photos with the Razr, which I prefer. And then you've got that difference between the telephoto and the ultra wide. And then really the other difference is the nighttime shots are a little bit better with the Samsung. But by and large, they're very similar. But what's important with this phone or with these phones, what do you want it for? If you just want to buy it so you can close it and put it in your pocket, buy whichever one you want. But the big thing here is if I'm going to get a flip phone, I want to have the best front cover screen experience possible. That's the whole point in these things, right? So 4-inch screen, it's a much bigger, significantly better real estate, ease of use, functionality, ability to control what you want and do what you want on the front screen. Motorola wins that by a long shot. It is better. It's not this whole pared down and tailored, here's the experience that you get. You can type fully on here. You can reply to messages fully. You can watch whatever you want. You can use essentially any app you want on the front screen. It's nice, it's smooth, it's fluid. Big upgrade this year, Snapdragon 8S Generation 3 as opposed to the 8 Plus Generation 1 that we had last year. So Motorola, I think, took a lot of the steps in the right places. And then just to mention this, you have IPX8 on the Razr, so water resistance, that's good, not rated for dust resistance. And then you have the IP48, which is okay. IP48 means you have protection against a 1 millimeter object, which is pretty substantial, right? And probably you have the same thing with the Motorola. It's just they don't advertise it and pay for that certification. But by and large, I've used both of these. I've enjoyed using both of these. Oh, one other thing, the crease. The crease on the Razr, very non-existent. Like the way they've done it, the way they've designed theirs, it's much, much less noticeable. And then you go to the Samsung one and you definitely have a much more glaring, sharp crease in the middle of the screen. That's one of the biggest things people complain about with these phones. Complain, crease, crease, crease. Look, I get it. That's fine. If it's not for you, I'm not trying to sell you one of these phones. I'm just trying to tell you what I think is better, what the differences are. You get a better crease experience with the Razr. So overall, if I were to go spend my money on one, I prefer the Razr. But there are reasons for the Samsung one. Better support, better repairability because they've got the U-Break iFix. They've got the free screen protector replacement within their first year. You get different benefits and things like that. They've got the insurance, probably a better warranty whenever it comes to warranty repairs and things like that. So when you look at it from a reliability, long-term support, taking care of your phone, Samsung, that's what they're going for. They want to make sure if you buy this, you don't have to worry about it. It's protected. They're on the 6th generation and they've got it down to a science, but they're also not very bold. They're also not very brave and outgoing and trying to push the envelope with what they're doing with the phone. Whereas Razr has done that in a very calculated and conservative way in some ways, but where I think the rubber meets the road, they doubled down on this. They made the front screen stand out, bigger, bragging points, brownie points, better experience. So yeah, they're both good phones. You can't go wrong with either one of them, but it depends on what you want. If you like Samsung, if you want to stick with that, if you want to have 7 years of support, if you think this phone will last 7 years, you want monthly security patches, yeah, there's a couple of reasons where the Z Flip is definitely a standout. And of course, you get the full functionality, Galaxy Buds, full functionality, Galaxy Watch, all the other different Galaxy products. So Samsung is doing a lot of smart things there. And then you have kind of the standalone, all right, we got the Motorola, don't really have a watch. They do have their buds. You can go get those if you want. And they do some smart things and they do some cool stuff that Samsung doesn't do. But by and large, for the best flip phone experience, I think it's the Razr. And I said that last year. I thought the Razr Plus for 2023 was a better phone. And I think the Razr Plus for 2024, when it comes to being a flip phone, is the better flip phone. So I know this isn't like I'm going to get complaints. Oh, more of the phone, less of your face. Look, shut up. I don't care. That's not what I'm here for. You can watch an MKBHD video. You can watch somebody else's video and you can see all the cool, pretty things. People know what these phones look like. They want to know what matters, what are the key differences. And if you walk into a store and have to pick one of these two phones, what is it that stands out to you that makes you want to buy one of them? And that's what I was trying to deliver here. Of course, we talked about the specs. We talked about the big and important things that matter. But this one's my favorite. I think it's the best. This one is very good. You can't go wrong with it. It's just a matter of which one that you prefer. So yeah, that's all I got. If you have any questions or comments, of course, please go to the comment section. I'll do my best to get back with you. Hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully this gave you some information. It's a lot of talking, a lot of things. But as somebody who's used both of these phones, who's used last of them, whoop, I dropped it. I've been using flip phones and not dropping them since the first Z Flip. I had the Z Flip, Z Flip 5G, Z Flip 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I had Motorola Razr 5G, Motorola Razr Plus 2024, Razr 2024, or 23, yeah, 2023, and now these. So a lot of experience. I love them. I think flip phones are cool. I think it's nice being able to open them, close them. You know, you can do this and flip it open. You can flip it back closed, hang it up to hang up your phones, all that stuff. And then, oh, of course, yes, the Galaxy phone, it has the Galaxy AI and all that stuff too, if you care about the AI, which there's some cool stuff like Live Translate, interpreter mode, and other cool things like circle to search. I mean, there are things, of course, are on the same, like there are similar Google AI stuff on both of the phones, but Samsung really has gone that route. Motorola is trying to get on board with some of it. You have Gemini on here by default as the smart assistant. You can get it like 3 months of Gemini Pro, I think is what it is. The upgraded version. Anyway, yeah, that's about it. I'm going to wrap this one up. That's all I got. Hopefully you enjoyed it, found it helpful. Hit the like and subscribe button. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.